you want to know my opinion on what I think, just keep on watching. Hey guys, what's good? It's your girl Nisi here and I'm back with another video, and I want to give a big shout out to my subscribers, and if you're new here, come subscribe to your girl and join the family. And a big thank you for everyone that's been watching, sharing, commenting, and do check out my YouTube shorts if you haven't. They've been doing really good on numbers, so thank you. I'll put a little clip here. I've been doing good numbers with that. But yeah, YouTube is being a bit funny because I am trying to reach 500 subscribers by the end of this month. So as soon as I get like close to 500, all of a sudden I lose subscribers. So do check that you're still subscribed and your notification bell is on. But yeah, guys, so for today's video, I am shooketh. What in the world is going on? Like, what year is this? Can someone explain? This is 2025 and there's been major blackouts in Europe. So it happened in Spain and Portugal and the southern areas of France. Now, for the France, that was shocking, like for me. So in the UK, I live up north, but I do have family down south, so in London. And it's just like that's just like it happening in the UK. My family in London have got like no light, etc. And they ring me before they get cut off. And it's like, yeah, I've got food, I've got light, you know what I mean? Everything's normal up here. Like that's insane. But yeah, guys, with these blackouts, it's obviously stopped like transport. So, traffic lights, trains, trams, even electrical cars. All your people with your nice electrical 24 plate cars, 25 plate cars, Teslas shut down, obviously, like the banks, obviously things in supermarkets, so like the freezers, the fridges, like can we just deep this? Like this is crazy. It's something out of like a horror film. So there's that film that was on Netflix. People are saying it's similar to that. I can't remember the name. It's the one that the Obamas produced. I'll put a picture here. Something like Lead to Nowhere or something it's called. And the stuff that happened in Spain and Portugal, that's what happened in the film. And then the Tesla cars were going all crazy. So listen, as much as they want to make, the society cashless, they want, get rid of diesel and petrol cars, they want electric, they want everything technology. It's reasons like this that it can never work. You know what I mean? Like just one outage and that's it. Like you won't be able to do anything. There's people that like there's a lot of new builds, and a lot of new builds it takes electricity. So you've got the electric cooker, the electric heating. An outage like this. Listen, people not being able to use the phone, people getting like stuck on the lifts. So imagine being claustrophobic, but you thought, let me just take the lift because it's quick, and then this happened. Like, can you imagine? Or you needed the toilet and you thought, let me just take this lift and then I can go toilet, or you're hungry. Because you know what I mean? This blackout lasted for, hours. So this is insane. Listen, I'm praying for y'all. I know the conspiracy theories and the doom preppers are like, told ya, like something's coming. And it is for 2025. This is giving 2020. Obviously, they're saying it's not a big deal. It's looking like a cyber attack, but I feel like there's something major behind it. The government, they say one thing, they do another. The same with, 2020, I can't even say it, but the PAMA, there was a big agenda behind that, even with all the people that sadly passed. You know what I mean? There was something that they were trying to put in place with that. If you know, you know. But again, when people speak on it, the videos get demonetized or they get called crazy, or, you're fear mongering. It's like, wake the F up. Like, smell what the rock is cooking. But yeah, let's get into some people's reactions.
Today's power grid failure is being called one of the most powerful in Europe's modern history. Spain, Portugal, and France have experienced a massive electricity outage. The Spanish government has urgently convened a meeting at the headquarters of Red Electrica, the national grid operator. ATMs and card payment systems are down, there is no mobile signal or internet, and people are stuck in elevators and metro trains. Chaos has erupted on the roads of Spain and Portugal due to traffic light failures and subway train stoppages. The power systems of Spain and Portugal have lost more than 10 gigawatts of capacity. There are growing suspicions that the possible cause of the blackout could be a cyber attack.
Guys, did you hear that? You know what I mean? Payment cards, obviously the famous Apple Pay, cash machines are down. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie, I prefer using cards. I just because I've got kids and I'll be rushing and I hate using cash, but I do keep cash around, but just not a lot. So obviously with this happening, people are running to the banks, there's long queues. Obviously the machine can't work, and then you know what I mean? The banks in the actual bank, like the people, they're panicking, like because obviously the banks can't give out too much because you know what I mean, they need to keep some money. And like they said, the Spanish government, he called like an emergency meeting, like you said, traffic, you know, traffic lights, so people are panicking, people are trying to get out of town. So obviously there's traffic blocking. What else did he speak on? You know, people stuck in lifts, trams. Like for me with the trams, yeah, well trains. Some people have to get a train to get home. Like there's no other transport they can get. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like little villages or you know what I mean? So imagine obviously the trains can't run, but that's your only transport to get home. It's just like, so where am I gonna be staying tonight? Hopefully, wherever they let's say if you get a train to work and you can only get a train back home, hopefully maybe they can stay at their colleague's house or you know what I mean? Like this is really scary when you deep it. It's really scary. Obviously, people that had flights, you know, when you deep it, when it comes to technology, we use it a lot. Even just the simple stuff like checking in to fly. So you can imagine the airports were mad. Obviously the planes. I seen that in another series that was on Netflix as well, where the planes just started falling, like because all the electricity was just failing. Hospitals, as you know, there's a lot of machines, people that need it, that's keeping them alive and things like that. Like this is really disturbing. Like it's just not trying to go too deep because again, YouTube here, but just if you deep it, it's like wow. But yeah, let's get into some people's reactions.
This shit is starting to get crazy. So numerous countries in Europe are dealing with major power outages. So the worst places that are affected by these outages are Spain and Portugal. And you could only imagine how bad this is. From no power on trains to traffic lights going dead, places where people purchase foods, their phone services probably pop. They're even saying that people are on trains and these trains just cut off. So now you can only imagine what's next for these people if this power doesn't come back on immediately. Their internet service is even down. The worst part of everything is they don't even know how this happened. Now you gotta say to yourself, if that happened there, that can happen anywhere. And they're also saying that they can't purchase anything electronically. You know what that means, right? Can't use credit cards, so you need cash. And what are they doing now? They're trying to go to every bank to pull out cash. Disaster. What I will say is this, hopefully they handle this more sooner than later, because once again, if this gets out of line, this could really get out of line. Pay attention.
Yeah, so like you said about the train, I forgot about that. Like imagine being on the train when, you know, I mean the blackout first happened and you know, it's happened to me when I've gone London and I've been on the underground. Sometimes something's happened and they've had to stop. But can you imagine just being stuck on it again? You might be hungry. The phone services, you know what I mean? Obviously, usually when you're on trains on the underground, you've not got much signal anyway. But can you imagine just literally shut down? Like this is so scary. And like what you touched on with money, a lot of the, you know, the Gen Zs and, you know, the other generation, they do not use cash as much. So this is quite scary, you know what I mean? And I know they're like probably like, oh shoot, I wish I had cash now. Again, like you said, people are running to the banks, but the banks are only gonna let a certain amount of money. It's just like with 2020, tissue, milk, what else? You know, just stupid little things like that. They had to put a limit on it because people were just overdoing it. So, you know what I mean? You can't go to the bank now and try and draw out 500 because there's other people that need to draw out money. But yikes. And like you said, they don't even know like how this happened. I semi believe that, but again, the government, if you know, you know. But yeah, this is nuts.
So this is groundbreaking news that I have no idea why nobody's reporting on it. Why is nobody talking about all of the Europe nationwide power outages that are happening right now? This is spanning across Spain, this is spanning across Portugal, southern parts of France. It is a complete blackout in those nations. And this is according to the latest news and breaking headlines. And the report said the outage, described by experts as absolutely exceptional, was triggered by a rare atmospheric phenomenon causing significant oscillations in high voltage power lines. This led to the disconnection of Spain's grid from the broader European network, resulting in widespread power failures across the Iberian Peninsula. Madrid, Barcelona, Seville, all experiencing complete blackouts. You have thousands of people at the train stations, unable to go anywhere because those have completely gone down. They are even being forced to use cash because no electronic payments are accessible right now. Transportation systems, metro lines and trains, traffic lights, everything has stopped functioning. There are even reports that airports have been disrupted with flight delays and passengers being stranded. Portugal is even facing similar challenges. The Lisbon Metro and other train services have been suspended, and mobile networks are experiencing significant limitations. They are even saying that cell service is coming down. What could this phenomenon that happened in the atmosphere, that's what they're reporting, what was that? To affect over 4 huge nations in the East. That's all we know for now. As soon as I get an update, I'll make sure to update you guys.
Yeah, man, he touched on some really good points. For me, like you said, why are people not talking about it? Like for me, so at the beginning of the week, I make a list of videos that I'm gonna do, the topics. This wasn't in my, what I mean? Like this just literally came out of nowhere. But because I do like to travel and I do like to travel to Spain, like, what I mean? And you know what the maddest thing is with this like outage? I was actually trying to go Spain at the end of May for the kids' half term, but now I think I'm gonna push it back to later on in the year. But even with this now, it just makes you think like you really need to prepare yourself. Like you said, with the like flights, the airport, you're just stranded. Like, so imagine checking out the hotel, you get, you transfer to the airport, you're trying to leave, go back to the UK, America, whatever. And then because of this outage, like you can't fly today. And it's just like, I don't live in Spain. I'm just here for a holiday. Like, what am I supposed to do? This is so bad. Like, oh my gosh. When I say I'm shocked, I'm shocked. Like, even my mom, she rang me because again, she knows I like to travel. And she's like, "Did you hear what's going on in Spain and Portugal?" I was like, "Yep." You know what I mean? My sister, she's a semi prepper and she's been telling us, to stock up on certain things, etc., etc. We've got a plan if things ever hit the fan. But with this happening, we need to proper like we're doing this, this, and this, and you know what I mean? Because she likes stuff like Walking Dead. I know that's the apocalypse and zombies and stuff, but just anything to do with that, she's into all that. She's been telling us, you know what I mean? Like, watch what's going on, not just in the UK but around the world. So with this blackage happening in obviously main Europe, people in Australia, America, listen, watch out. Take tips, start prepping because it can happen literally anywhere.
Why are you a prepper? Well, if you're paying attention in the news, you've just seen that Spain, Portugal, France are all dealing with some massive power outage. They don't know what caused it. They don't know how long it's going to last. And people are freaking out. It doesn't have to be a cyber attack. The power's out. It's out. So why not just be prepared for something like that? This is all a developing story, so we'll pay attention and see what happens.
Listen, I don't get why people get so mad at preppers. Like, people just be hating on them. I don't mind them. And again, I watch them every now and then. The thing with after 2020, I did do a bit of like prepping, but then a lot of stuff that I stocked up on went out of date and stuff because obviously I bought so much. So that's the only thing I don't like about it. Obviously, you get tin stuff, but obviously, even that expires at some point. Again, even my sister, she's big on prepping. She bought loads of stuff during those crazy times, and a lot of stuff just ended up, you know what I mean? But yeah, listen, reasons like this, again, the conspiracy theorists and the preppers are like, see, we done told y'all. So that's why he's a prepper, because he knows one day something's going to hit the fan. And listen, I don't blame him. We'll be freaking out and struggling. Well, he'll just be like, like I've done had my cash, done had my food, got my little bunker, you know what I mean? So he's good, but yeah.
I hope you people are paying attention to this blackout that's happening on mainland Europe, right? This electrical blackout. And I'll explain to you why, right? Because This just reaffirms a point that I've been making for many, many years. So millions of people in Spain, and I think some other European countries, went without electricity for a certain duration of time. But yet, our politicians and our elites are telling people like me and you, we need to get rid of our petrol and diesel vehicles and go electric. Now imagine having an electric vehicle when there is no power. How would that work out? Also as well, they're trying to tell you to get rid of cash and go fully electric in terms of your transactions regarding your money and so on. How would that work out in an event of an electrical blackout? How would that work out? Cash is king, pump the oil. Common sense must prevail.
Guys, you heard him. Common sense must prevail. Listen, he was dropping some gems. He told no lies. Again, I'm not gonna lie. I am an Apple Pay type of girl, or just the card, the Visa debit. But after this, I do have cash. I'm not gonna be like I never use cash. I do have cash, just not that amount that I usually spend just using my phone really quickly. But after after today, doing all this research, but I definitely agree when he touched on the cars. The government are pushing this agenda. And you know what? Since they've been pushing this whole electric cars, I've had a running joke. I'm gonna be the last person, like out of my like family, friends, to still have a petrol car, because I ain't getting no electrical car. You know what I mean? Like, but they're really trying to push that agenda, they're trying to make them look all fancy, and you know they give it like, what's the word, like if you've got a Tesla, you're seen like above everyone else compared to someone that's just got. So let me say my car's a Citroen diesel car. But listen, when the outage or blackout happens, guess who can still drive and you can't? Even like with the charging ports, if you can't find a charger in time and you know what I mean, your car runs out of electricity, you're effed. And I know that's the same with a person that runs out of diesel or petrol, but at least we can put like you said, we can pump, put it into one of those little jug things and then top up our car. You can't bring the electrical charger anywhere. So, you know what I mean? You know what the maddest thing is? So when I was in Nigeria 2 years ago, someone bought a Tesla out there, some guy. And guess what happened, guys? His car conked out and he was in the middle of like on a highway. My partner at the time, he was just like, this guy is so stupid. Like, out of all the countries in the world, why would you bring an electrical car to Nigeria? But he was just doing that just to stunt. You know what I mean? Again, if you've got a Tesla, one of those new BM electrical car, like you're above everyone else kind of thing. But he looked like a stupid clown because he was stuck on the middle of the highway. And I don't even know he definitely had to get the car towed because again, like especially in places like Africa, I'm gonna speak just on Nigeria because that's all where I've been. When the electric goes out, they use generators. So I don't know how. So I'm guessing a tow had to come and the truck had to come and pick it up, take it somewhere, and charge it up somehow because again, there's no charging ports in that country like that. Like there's barely charging ports in the UK. Like I used to live in Halifax, so that's even more northern than Manchester. And I remember a workman came to my house and he was like, "Do you know there's only two charging ports in Halifax?" And I was like, "Wow." So obviously if he goes to one and obviously it's busy or there's a queue, he's effed because he's got jobs to do. So I think there was one on like the north side of Yorkshire and then the other on the south. So this is what I mean. There's hardly any like charging ports here in the UK. So can you imagine Africa and all these other countries? It's just like, bro. But yeah, we definitely need to take note though of Africa because again, when their electricity goes out, they've got the generators and it just starts back up. So I know that's really hard to run over here in the UK, but I know in America a lot of people are starting to get generators.
TikTok. I've been stuck in this elevator
Mhm.
for the last 1 or 2 hours. I guess the power's out.
So
I
sad.
don't know. But people texting me, I'm about to have no data. It's insane. Like TikTok, when y'all see me next, hopefully I'm out the elevator. My phone's about to die, so we're gonna see if I get out. I'm stuck in the elevator. Like every door in here is stuck. I'm stuck. So hopefully TikTok, I get out. If I don't get out, hey, y'all see the video later.
Oh, it couldn't be me. I wouldn't really say I'm claustrophobic, but at the same time, I'm not trying to be stuck on an elevator for hours. Like he said, his date is gonna go soon. I'm surprised the light in the actual lift was still working. But yikes, like praise for him. I hope, you know what I mean? Again, imagine he was hungry or he needed the toilet. Like, it's mad.
So y'all remember hearing about 3 days of darkness and it was coming to America. It's gonna be 3 days of darkness. Well, it seems like that darkness just hit Spain and Portugal. Massive blackout. And I mean like the whole country, not just a city or the whole country. Do you know what it takes for a whole country to have a blackout? They say that it was some type of atmospherical event or something that happened in the atmosphere that caused the blackout, which makes it even more scary. Some people argue that it was a cyber attack, but obviously nothing is coming out yet, and they're probably going to try to paint it as something that it wasn't. Now, if it was an atmospherical event, then we would know that it had something to do with the spiritual realm. Now, we know it's something deeper than what they're letting off, and it'll probably come out at some point. But we also know everything that's been going on in the sky, this is not a surprise. Also, the movie Leave the World Behind, there was blackouts. And so, like, guys, nothing works. Grocery stores, no power. Banks, no power. Which means if you need to buy something, you need cash. Interesting, right? Now, don't think that this can't happen where you are in America, because it can, and it most definitely will. That was probably something that was a trial run. And listen, y'all, if that was like a cyber attack, they probably was testing it out. Now they know that it works and they can use it. Something in the atmosphere.
Yeah, guys, that's the film Leave the World Behind. If you've not seen it, I would definitely recommend it. Hopefully, it's still on Netflix, but that was produced by the Obamas. And that was very interesting after watching it, because obviously they used to be in the White House. He had 2 terms being a president. So for them to direct a film like that, it's like, what you trying to tell us without actually trying to tell us? But yeah, like you said, what's happening or what happened in Spain, it's giving that film. Again, the Teslas were off the chain in that film. And it's weird. That film's probably like maybe 2 years old. And it's just funny now, 2 years later, Donald Elon Musk is rubbing shoulders with Donald Trump, who's obviously the current president, and he's the owner of Teslas. So it's very interesting. But again, if you've not seen that film, therefore check it out and recommend watching it. But yeah, I agree with a lot of stuff he said. Like, so what he said about something like 3 days in America that this is supposed to happen. Again, you know, with these films, yeah, take all these films with a pinch of salt, because they do, like, what is it, predictive programming. Obviously, when things go mad in the world, The Simpsons have done a little snippet and then it happens in real life, and then people are like, or even the stuff with Cat Williams, people are calling him like, fam, you must be like a real life prophet, because things you speak on, it happens later on, you know what I mean? Or a Negro Dominus, like you can see what's coming, you know what I mean? But yeah, I agree with what he said. Obviously, again, they're saying it's looking like to be a cyber attack or something in the air, or you know what I mean. They're blaming the sun. They're saying it's the weather. You know, global warming. It got too hot, so then it caused the power, like a power cut, and it's just like, now, mind you, again, I go Spain often. I try and go Spain like every year. It's just so close and it's a good destination. As I've been going, it is getting hotter. I won't deny that. But come on, like, come on, don't play with our intelligence. We know there's something bigger behind this. And like you said, things have been going crazy in the sky. I didn't do a video on it, but I think it was late last year or early this year. There was a lot of stuff going on in the sky in America, like New York, New Jersey. Obviously, people were saying it's giving aliens. You know what I mean? They kind of just fobbed it off and was just like, oh, no, 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 don't worry about it. And now this. Two things can be true at once. So it is giving cyber attack, but at the same time, it could be something more than that. There's a lot of stuff where they're messing with the weather. The same guy that I played, the black guy from New York at the beginning, he spoke on it that they're messing with the sun. And even in Dubai, when they had those floods last year, obviously it doesn't rain in Dubai, and then all of a sudden they got like the floods. They mess with the weather, like, I don't know. So they're messing with God's creation. And listen, God don't like ugly. God's like, listen, you better stop playing with me before you know what I mean?
What happens if the UK has a
Yikes,
full
not the UK.
electrical blackout? Well, the immediate effects, minutes to the first hour, the lights go out everywhere. Homes, businesses, streets, hospitals. Transport stops. Electronic trains, like the London Underground, just stop. There'll be no traffic lights, so even trains and cars cannot make their way round. The roads will be chaos. Mobile networks go down. Obviously, you think you've got Wi-Fi, that's down, I can use 3G. No, sorry, 3G needs electric too. These usually have backup generators, backup power, but again, that's not going to last forever, maybe a few hours. Cash machines and card readers aren't working. There's no way to make electronic payments, there's no way to get your cash out of the machines. And let's face it, supermarkets, are they prepared for that? Because supermarkets use electronic till systems. Water supplies could start degrading quickly because electronics pump stations for the water supply. The short-term effects, the first few hours, the emergency services switch to backup power, but that might be overwhelmed. Don't forget, everything has just gone out like that. So there'll be a lot of crashes, there'll be a lot of people needing medical attention. Hospitals use their generators, but these have got a limited fuel supply. So you're talking 24 hours, 72 hours of fuel before they need refueling. Food shops and petrol stations would close down. Apparently in the UK, our petrol stations don't have backup generators. They don't have backup fuel. Airports and normal seaports, they would stop operations. All flights would be grounded. People's phones are running out of battery. Communication is just becoming harder. And at this point as well, don't forget the water stations, the pumping stations don't have any power. So big cities could start losing water pressure. You're also going to start getting panic buying at this point. Fuel shortages, water shortages, that sort of stuff. Heating would fail in the houses as well. At this point, you're really starting to run out of everything. So now we're talking longer term, several days. At this point, the food supply chain absolutely collapses. There's no refrigeration process, there's no transport. All the food that's in the pipeline just starts to rot. It's not only the fact that you can't buy it, it's you can't get it, you can't keep it fresh or anything. And like I said, at this point, hospitals are running massively low on power. Their generators are run by fuel with a 24 to 72 hour fuel supply. So when you get past 72 hours, they're going to need refueling. This is going to lead to excess deaths, especially amongst vulnerable patients. And the food chain's getting more of a hit as well. So you've got farms that are likely to start losing livestock because they can't tend to them properly. And at this point, the government would have to declare a national emergency. If they hadn't already, the army would be coming onto the streets, which is already happening in Spain, France and Portugal as we speak.
Listen, shout out to that UK man. He was speaking facts. I love how he broke it down. Like, yeah, the first 24 hours, 72 hours, but then, you know what I mean? As it just goes, like, jeez. But obviously, he spoke on the ambulance and how they've got a backup, generator, which is good. Obviously, big companies and things like that will, but your average, person, we're not gonna have it. But again, like he said, you need fuel to keep that going. So again, the people that would be affected first is the people in hospital, because even like the nurses and doctors, they've got families, so I'm sure they're gonna want to go home. You know what I mean? Like, it's not obviously, like you said, trams, trains, traffic, which I've already spoken on. But yeah, again, in the UK, that's our living in it. Like, we use that a lot. We depend on that a lot. So that going out, you know what I mean? I just know it's gonna be like that film, Leave the World Behind, where people just jump in a car, people are panicking, and that causes traffic jams and etc. But yeah, he spoke on a lot of stuff, the supermarkets. I like that he's spoken because I've worked in the supermarket, that he spoke on the tills. So back in the 60s and even like further back, the 40s, 30s, if you remember those old school tills where you had to put in the price and ding, you know what I mean? We don't have those tills no more. You know what I mean? Like, it comes up, it's very electrical. So I've worked in a supermarket since 2020. Then I left and then I went back, I want to say 2022. So like I took like a 2-year break. When I went back, So it's the same supermarket but a different store. The tills were changed. They were completely electrical, brand new. Because they were like, "Are you till trained?" And I was like, "Yeah." So they put me on a till, and I was like, "What's this?" And they were just like, "Oh, you must know the old till." I'm like, "Yeah." So, but yeah, it's proper like electrical, touch screen, like new. So yeah, I agree with that. Even if you do have cash, because the tills are electrical, you can't open the till. So it's very scary. Like, how would the world, you know what I mean? As much as like China, Japan are advanced, and everything's technical over there and the bright lights and stuff. Like even them, if they was to have a major blackout, I'm sure they're patterned and they've got their generators. But do you know what I mean? Like, because it's so futuristic over there, and obviously here in the West, we're trying to keep up with them. We're just not ready. Like, we're not prepared compared to like them. Like, we're not ready. And yo, the UK definitely needs to take notes of that outage in Spain and Portugal. Everyone take note, but definitely the UK, because you know what I mean, because we're just like a small island. If that was to happen to us, it's literally like I don't know what we're gonna do. And I know we did speak on like the army would have to come in eventually, and you know what I mean. But like you said, once the food runs out, and what he spoke about refrigerators, you can't even get like food won't stay fresh, and like in the supermarket, at your home, farmers, like it's that food chain. So literally you're just gonna be eating like sardines, beans out of a tin, because you know what I mean, you can't have like good like salmon, chicken, like meat's gonna go off straight out. You know what I mean? Like this is scary. And this is why my mom or my parents' home country, Jamaica, how you can just pick stuff off the tree and it's fresh. We ain't got that over here. Like things need to be in the fridge. Obviously, things can go in the cupboard, but again, that's tin stuff. But everything you said, milk, we're not going to be able to store it because there's no electricity. Like, woo! Just when you deep it, this is a lot. Yeah, guys, so that's it for this video. When I say I'm shook up, I am shook up, and I was like, no, I need to bring awareness to this situation and share light, just in case someone around the world who watches this video doesn't know what's even going on in Spain and Portugal. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, please. Especially if you went through it, especially if you're from Spain, Portugal, or the southern areas of France. Please stay safe, and after this, prep, have backup, generators, lights, candles, what I mean, torches. I've got all that, but you know what I mean? It's never enough, you know what I mean? But at least have something, because there's some people out there that don't have nothing. But yeah, guys, subscribe to your girl. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers if you don't know already. But yeah, please do, and share this video, and make sure your notification bell is on. But yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.